All right. Hello, Denimheads, and welcome to the 47th episode of the Sons of Selvedge Podcast. This is a podcast where a group of friends get together to talk about denim, rugged wear, and related interests. And this is one of our guest episodes where we've got Lennaert Nijgh from Benzak, based in the Netherlands. So welcome, Lennaert. Thank you for being on the podcast. Also, we've got Lex and Kevin, if you want to quickly introduce yourself before we jump into the conversation.
Hi, Lex here. How's it going?
Good to see you. Hey, it's Kevin. Good to be back.
Cool. Awesome. So Lennaert, thank you so much for giving us your time and being on the podcast. Been a big fan of your brand for some years now. I think I originally discovered it some years ago when I was living in the UK, and I bought your, I think it was, oh gosh, what was the model? It was like a trucker jacket, like an industrial blue and gray denim, had like one chest pocket, sort of like a Lee Ryder style a bit.
And I know exactly which jacket it is. And first of all, of course, welcome for having me, guys. It was the BDJ02 Rider jacket,
Yes, exactly.
and I think it was like an 11 ounce industrial blue selvage. That was the name.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yep.
remember. Yeah,
Maybe like a Condiani denim. It's like an Italian denim, right?
yeah, correct.
Awesome. Yeah, beautiful piece. So that was my
Thank
introduction
you.
to your brand. And after that, I picked up some of your, I think they were like a fatigue style short and like a navy herringbone twill and a couple of like your heavyweight t-shirts. So yeah, I really appreciate your brand, and I'm super stoked to have you on the podcast. So maybe to kick things off, like how did you get started with Benzak?
So, Benzak started basically when I got into denim. Well, not the brand itself started, but the whole everything that led up to starting my own brand started when I was in high school, where I developed like a passion for raw selvage denim. It actually started with the brand Evisu, which many of you know, obviously. It was I think the late 90s or maybe early zeros, when the brand got some traction in the Netherlands and Europe. Um, and I didn't know anything about raw denim and selvage and anything like that. But what I did notice was like guys wearing these jeans with these high turn-ups to school that had like this colorful edge on the outside, which I later understood it was selvage. Um, I got like really invested in that. I really liked it. Started looking up information about it online. It was the time of the internet fora where you had like Super Future, like Super Denim, and My Nudies, for example, which were two big forums. Um, really started digging, learning, buying stuff, and basically by the time when I was 18, I already had the idea. I want to be part of this. I want to have my own brand. Not that I saw like at that moment saw like a gap in the market or knew what I really wanted to do with the brand, but I just want to be part of it. So I went to the Amsterdam Fashion Institute to study there. I did my final thesis was actually the business plan for my brand or for my company basically, which was a little bit different from what it is now, but that's how how things evolve in a natural way. Um, but the name Benzak was born back then. My initial business plan was to create like collections for others, like for stores or for restaurants that needed like stuff to work in, like clothes. That really didn't work out. So um, I started working for a couple of other clothing brands, learning along the way. and also on the side building up the plans and building out the plans basically to launch the brand that I had envisioned, which was a collection of raw denim jeans, selvage denim, preferably made in Japan. Um, and one of the things that I had learned prior to that was that consistency in collection is a very, very important thing when we try to create something for guys, basically. Um, it was back in college when I was working in a clothing store where we sold a couple of denim brands, including Diesel. They had a specific pair that was selling really, really well, and the one of the models that sold very well um, got replaced with something very similar, but like different name, slightly different styling, and different washes. So after half a year, when a customer that bought that pant, that original pant, came into the store asking me like, "Oh, I want to buy the jeans again," I had to explain, "Yeah, we don't have that specific pair anymore, but we do have this, and it's almost the same, but I lost him already." And I thought like, why are they doing this? Why are
Mm,
they changing something that is selling really well? So that was one of the key things, one of the first things I wanted to implement in my brand. So it was the consistency, it was made in Japan, it was salvage denim, and while working for another brand, I did a lot of traveling because I did development and production. That's basically my background. I'm a product developer in clothing with a specialism in um, denim. Basically, I do like woven pants. It's like mostly bottoms, and then obviously denim is a big part of that. Um, it was actually in Bangkok back in 2011 where I met my current supplier in Japan, which is Japan Blue, the Japan Blue Group. They are
mm-hmm,
famously known within the industry for having Japan Blue jeans, Momotaro, Collect as a fabric supplier, and a couple of more companies that
Mhm.
are under that umbrella. And the guys there, they were promoting it was actually maybe you know him. His name is Kishimoto, and he recently launched his own brand called Omoto Denim.
ah,
Ooh, I don't know
um
that actually. That sounds
right.
cool.
I've seen that brand pop up everywhere, and I know it's from Kojima. Like he has a store on Kojima, I think, on Jean Street as well. I saw Japanolog had a lot
yeah,
of
correct, yeah,
his
yeah,
stuff all of a sudden. So it's like, yeah, okay, that's interesting. That's from him.
yeah. So he was responsible at the time for Japan Blue jeans, and they were doing like a promotional thing in Isetan. It was like a Japanese department store. And
Hmm.
because I was there for like 2, 3 weeks doing like development and production, I didn't have to work every day. There wasn't that much to do all the time. So I also spent some time like going to these malls and do some shopping and some inspiration. And from another guy who was a befriended brand owner. His name is Gore. He's the owner from Indigo Skin. I'm not sure if you heard of that brand. It's a Thai brand who also, I think he launched it like in 2000, what was it, 10 or something like that, way back. He's still in business. He told me, yeah, Japan Blue is doing some promotion. You should come. So I went there, met with Kishimoto, and I asked him just out for him, basically out of the blue, do you guys do production for other brands? Because I didn't know. And he said, yeah, yeah, we can help you with that. Oh, okay. So he said to me, well, just send me your ideas, your designs, and we will see what we can do. Um, but what he didn't know is that I already had everything prepared. So I had all my sketches, all my size specs. Even had like patterns made, so it was just ready to roll out. And he was happily surprised by that, obviously. So it was in 2011 we started developing those first ideas, and then in 2013 I launched a Kickstarter. It was actually not on
Oh,
Kickstarter. It
cool.
was on a platform called Indiegogo. I don't know if it
Yeah,
still
yeah.
exists, but it's like a similar it's like a crowdfunding platform as well. Um, Launched the first collection to avoid having to pay all the production costs upfront myself. So that was a good way of uh, solving that issue as a starting brand. And then in September 2013, all the products were shipped out and sent to a couple of first stores. I think we had two or three retailers buying a couple of jeans as well. Um, yeah, mm, in a nutshell, that's how I got there with the start in 2013. Yeah.
It's interesting. The thing that stands out most from that summary, and that's a cool story, by the way, is the idea of like consistency. Because that's one thing I've found over the years following your brand is like you're consistently keeping similar styles that people like. Like there's like a herringbone twill overshirt or a few different pieces where it's like, man, this is like a really cool design. It's a really nice piece. And like you're bringing out like innovative new fabrics that like show different ways of kind of exploring a design. But it's almost like there's like a consistency across your different designs. And like it's like a really well thought through, really well curated aesthetic for Benzak. Like you feel like like you go to the website, like yeah, cool, great, awesome shirt, great, awesome jacket, great jeans. Like I feel like there's like a level of like rigor, and it's almost like like an architect, like really thinking through every little detail and like everything. So I think that's really cool. How your kind of philosophy shows through in your garments.
It's how I approach most of the things within the brand. I like tables. I like when you have in a table, and not to sit on but to sit at, but I mean a table where you have all the fits vertically and all the fabrics horizontally. You have like a grid basically where you can fill in everything. That's my ideal collection, but it doesn't work. Not every fit works with every fabric, but I try to build up my collections like that. It's the same with the way how I approach design, where I don't think we need 10 different shirt designs. It's not necessary. At least not in my perspective, where I think that the Benza customer really wants to differentiate in color and in fabric, and not necessarily in design, because the designs are quite simple. We have, if you look at the shirt collection that we have now, we have around three normal shirt designs, three overshirt designs, and then three jackets basically, and a, a couple of different fabrics. And those fabrics change every season, or sometimes not, because that's another thing. We try to keep things in the collection for basically as long as possible. We have quite a large core collection. Um, And by core collection, I mean those are styles that we try to keep them in stock at all times. Um, those are available for the retailer to buy at any time, so we don't require like large minimums when they pre-order and stuff like that. So it's a little over 60% of the offer is core collection. And then we have our seasonal stuff and specials. And those are more like fabrics that are a bit usually fabrics that are a bit more focusing on either on trend or on season. So we have like a wool shirt. We don't sell it in summer, obviously, so it's for that reason it's not part of the core collection. But if you look at the designs, they're all, it's just a couple of designs that we normally only offer. And but when you say like when you approach our designs, do you mean that you can see like, oh, that's a Benzak piece, or is it something different that what you
It's
are
both that you
meaning
can
with it?
see it's a Benzak piece, and like you can see how designs reference other designs in your collection, right? So it's kind of like I can see how you're iterating on different styles of like a trucker jacket, and it's like I can see how they're all part of the same family, but they're different, right? Or like
Yeah.
your different jean and trouser cuts. So you can see how they're kind of all. I guess there's a strong identity in the garments, and it feels like you very quickly can tell that they're your garments versus like a different brands. Whereas some other companies, it's like each season, it's like they've kind of reinvented who they are and like what their aesthetic is. Whereas like I feel like there's like a consistency to the way you approach your designs.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate of very slow fashion in that way. Don't change just for the sake of changing. It's the same with details. I don't like details that don't have a true purpose, so better leave it off. I don't like big flashy logos or things that are only there to serve as a way of showing what the brand is. I would rather that people like really have to look for what the brand is rather than put my logo big like a big logo on it. So it's good to hear that you can see by the way how we approach design that you are able to recognize it in a way. I think one of the things that when I'm not very conscious about the design process because it's for me it's even though I have a fashion background, I'm not like a trained designer. I'm really a developer. So um I don't work with mood boards. I don't work with like trying like build a story behind a collection. I'm very, very um item focused. Like I'm very product focused and very item focused. And that's also sometimes um one of the things I need to learn to step away from to also see it in a different way. But I've like maybe people around me to help me to help me do that because I'm just really a product guy. And I think one of the things when I think about the designs is that in many of the shirts I use like round shapes. And that's something I try to implement in most of the garments. So you have like the back yoke is like has the rounded like a rounded shape, which is a um basically a nod to the horns of the bulls, which is a mascot of the brand. Um, we have a lot of like chest pockets with rounded shapes.
Yep.
Like those
Mm.
things, I guess, is it's something that which now pops to mind, but I'm not super conscious about it, that it's I don't think that much about it, but yeah, it's good to have this conversation then. So I can think a little bit can think a little bit different about the way I approach design.
Yeah, yeah. Do you design things that you like yourself, or do you design for your customers? Because I know you're talking about slow fashion. Obviously,
Uh,
that's something we're all sort of into. Um, but like you obviously still want to sort of sell your products as well, right? I guess.
yeah, well, yeah, it's still a business I try to live off. So and yeah,
Mm,
so there I started a brand only with trying to make garments and trying to make things that I would love to have myself, wear myself. I still do that up till a certain point, although where of course you need to also adapt to what a customer is looking for, and by that I mean especially when you look at fits. So we have if we go to if to denim fits basically jeans. So we ha
Mm-hmm.
for our so we have two different lines. We have the European made line and we have the Japanese line. So the Japanese line is the line that I started back in 2013, and in 2016 the European made line was launched to provide a let's say an easier product, slightly lower priced, not as many details that you can find in the made in Japan stuff, closer to home. So in a way, that was already the first step to accommodate the needs of the consumer, because they're in back
Mm.
then, fans are buying 300 euro pairs of jeans, but there's more than that, and like most people wear jeans, and especially here in the Netherlands. So there's a big market besides the raw denim enthusiast, which we are now also catering to in quite a large scale. But we can talk about that later. Um, so that was basically one of the first steps where I started thinking about, like, okay, what does my customer wants? But then when you look at fits, obviously there's micro trends, there are macro trends in terms of fits. We always try to avoid like the seasonal stuff. So if there's something like all of a sudden like a hot kind of take on things, like for example right now, when you look at especially the younger guys, they're wearing like these huge pants, like it's more like a Gen Z thing, I guess. We do
Mm-hmm.
not touch that like at all. That's not what we try to do. That's but because that's also not slow fashion, that's fast fashion, so let
Yeah.
fast fashion do that. um, but still, we are now in a time where the straight fits and the wider fits are also um things that, like, let's say us as denim enthusiasts are looking for. So slim cuts are not that popular. So obviously we try to include more fabrics in the wider cuts at the moment rather than the slimmer cuts.
Mm.
Although our core collection still has a big offer in slim and tapered fits, which are still consistently selling. So there is something for each basically, but yeah, we still have to adapt. If we say, yeah, I like to wear like a high rise straight, we can't only do that. And not only because people are only looking for, or not only looking for those type of fits, but fits are also there to cater to different body types. So
Mm-hmm.
even though you have a certain
Yeah.
trend, um not every fit fits nice on every body type. So that's also a reason to branch out and to look for different things. And we have different weights and like heavy weights, light weights. Um, so there are various things to look at when designing also for your customer. However, if I really don't like something myself, I would not include it. There are a few things that I really detest, and that's having stretch in denim. So I
Mm-hmm.
I avoid I avoid that. It's also not necessary to have. I mean, there's enough brands who do it, and it's basically market standard nowadays. But that's one of the things that we don't. Another thing that I have said for a long time that I didn't want to touch is washes. But I'm kind of changing my perspective on that a little bit. So you can expect
Okay.
some washed garments from us in the future.
Can we ask what changed your mind about wash garments? Why is it something you're considering at this point in your brand?
So it's the main reason why I really didn't want to include something washed is because I don't like things that are made artificially, or made old in an artificial way. Um, And that's also still something I'm not trying to do. But if you want like a lighter colored pair of jeans, like a stonewash pair of jeans, there's a difference between including like whiskers and all kind of scraping and things like that on it, as opposed to
Mm.
just a pair of jeans that has been washed down to achieve a lighter color. But if you look at these 80s and 90s Levi's, when you buy them like secondhand, they're worn in. You can see that they're worn in. But these never started raw. These were already washed down, but like in a more uniform color. And I don't see any problem with that. I kind of like the look, and it doesn't. I don't think it will affect the idea of not wanting to include stuff that is made to look old, because it's not made to look old. It's made to look in a different color, and you can do that because that's the beauty of indigo, because you can play with that in a way where you can change its color to have basically a different garment, or a garment for a different occasion.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like if you keep it kind of clean aesthetic wise, it can be a really nice looking garment that looks, consistent, worn, but not like torn, whiskered, faded. I wonder if all the innovations around lasers and like lasering garments, does that allow for consistent finishes, or is that just to give like the whiskers and stuff? Like, do you still have to have like a wash process to like lighten the color?
Yeah, you need to wash process.
Yeah. Okay.
Laser techniques are really cool. It's a really cool technique. They can do amazing like faded patterns, and it's reaching like a point where it almost looks real. You can still see the difference between a pair of jeans that has been worn by a person as opposed to a laser technique. But to get like the overall light color, you need to wash it. You wash it down, and you you can there are techniques to do it without water. It's like ozone washes, and to get like the color out. But you need to do that. You can't do that only with laser.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I find it interesting how you're kind of like trying to follow changes in style, but also doing it in a way that's like durable and that's not temporary. Like I know myself, I recently kind of come to this idea where it's like I want a pair of jeans that will look cool now, but it'll look cool if I'm wearing them I'm in my 40s. It's like in my 50s or my 60s, right? So like I really gravitated towards like the regular straight cuts because it's like they're not loose and baggy, but they're not slim-minded. They're kind of right in the middle. And if I think about like a lot of shirts and jackets, usually like our tops are like right in the middle, right? You never have like super loose tops or like super slim tops. So it's like maybe jeans are kind of catching up with that mindset of just sort of like generalized styles that anyone can wear anytime.
Could be, but I also, if I look at my own closet, where I had that thought, and then like 5 years later, I'm thinking, yeah, maybe this is not forever. So
Mm.
you never know. You never know how things evolve. We try to do it as a brand to stay a little bit in the middle. So you have your fits from slim to wide, where we try to avoid like the most like far right or far left. Always stay a little bit in the middle, so but there's still enough to pick from. Uh, but it's yeah, but it. I have that also with my shirts. When I look at my own shirts, it's shirts I've been wearing for so many years. I don't I don't change them. I don't know if it's just us, or if it's maybe a guy thing in general. I don't know. It's also. No, it's not a guy thing. I mean, we shouldn't look at it as from a gender point of view. I think it's I think we're all looking into to having garments that are high, because they're high quality. You don't have to replace them, and if the fits are just like middle of the road. How do you say that?
Yeah, yeah, middle of the
Middle of
road. Yeah.
that middle of the road. Yeah, exactly. Um. Then you keep wearing them for so many years. As long as they don't break down, yeah, it's perfectly fine. And avoid trends. That's that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've talked to a few female friends and have kind of asked them like, why not embrace this kind of menswear approach of like stuff that's seasonless, timeless, whatever. And the few things I learned was that apparently they feel pressure to like keep up with the trends in a way that maybe menswear doesn't. Right? It's like, it's like, oh well, black dress is like not trending this season, so I got to go get a red dress instead to be like on trend, or people might say I'm out of touch. And so there's like maybe like a pressure in women's wear that we're not feeling in menswear. So I feel kind of privileged that it's like we can wear the same stuff season after season. I hope that women's
Yeah.
wear finds that same freedom to just sort of like wear what you want when you want. Um,
There's also less kind of changes in men's. If you think about how men dress, we wear shirts, t-shirts, sweaters, jeans. It's very, very basic. But there's a lot more freedom in how women dress and what they can wear. So inevitably, it allows for kind of more choice and more change. Um, Lennart, I don't know, but I teach at London College of Fashion. I teach pattern cutting there, and you
Hmm.
see the menswear students, the stuff they design for men it's always bonkers and unwearable. And it's just like this kind of weird catwalk of men in skirts and men in strange dresses and stuff like that. But in reality, like, you kind of say to most students, just look how we're all dressing. Jeans, t-shirt, a shirt. I think that's partly why women's wear is different.
Yeah, and then and don't forget about the way how there's so many more different female body types compared to men.
yeah.
So I I'm how do you say that? I try to stay away from women's design because it's so difficult. You have to do to change every season. You have to design for so many with so many different things in mind. And I will be a very very bad women's designer, I think. So I will stick to this what I know.
I have a bit of a weird cultural question about Amsterdam and denim. So I'm a big cyclist, right? I like have like multiple bikes, road bike, mountain bike, city bike, etc. And I love cycling, but like I never want to cycle in my jeans because like I don't want to ruin them. And like I know cycling's such a huge part of Amsterdam's culture. Do people just like embrace it? Like, hey, I live on a bike. That's my life. It's gonna wear out my jeans. Or do people do anything to like look after their jeans with cycling culture? Or like, do you deal with that being a Dutch based brand?
Why would you say you will ruin your jeans when cycling?
Like the saddle, the leather, like wearing a hole in the crotch of the jeans over time.
Well, yeah, that's just part of your lifestyle then, right? So,
I mean, I literally
Agreed.
have like synthetic trousers. Yeah, maybe that's the difference. Is like I have synthetic trousers that I wear when I'm like commuting on my Brompton bike, like a folding bike, because I'm like so afraid of like cycling in my raw denim.
yeah, well, that's one of the things I always say to people that are new to the whole philosophy behind breaking in your own jeans, not washing for a long time. Is that don't think too much about it. In the end, it's just a pair of jeans, and if you end up with a hole, repair it. You know, that's my approach at least
Mm.
on denim. And yes, of course, it's not a cheap piece of clothing, but if you look at how many days you can wear it before it actually breaks down, um, doesn't matter. So I would say don't think about it too much. But there are
Yeah,
people who definitely don't want to ruin their fades or something like that. But yeah, most guys will just jump on their on their bikes in Holland wearing their raw denim for
I always
sure.
had this
Yeah.
idea for a business where like it's some kind of like special saddle that you covered like a soft fabric or some kind of cover you can put on your bike seat that like is less abrasive on denim than the leather. But I know most people would probably laugh at me and be like, I'm not going to buy that. So,
But
Small
how many
market.
kilometers or miles do you bike a day?
well, that's the thing is it's not far because I'm in San Francisco, right? Which like it's similar in size to Amsterdam, so it's like it's not a lot of cycling, but it's more I'm just nervous of like a lot of cycling over time might add up. But I'm probably just maybe overly paranoid about my garments.
Just wear those jeans. And
Yeah.
we will get back on that in like a year and see how they turn out probably
There you go. There you
beautiful.
go. And maybe going maybe a bit back in the conversation, I think it's interesting how you talked about this idea of like developing garments in Japan and developing garments in Europe and kind of almost like having two lines in parallel. And I'm aware you also had the pretty cool collaboration with Samurai a couple years ago. How have you found it like doing these like two different approaches to your brand, and how did you find that collaboration?
So the to have like the two different lines is, well, to me it's of course it's the same brand. We have two different production sources, and um for me the main Japan line is basically is what everything started for Benzak. Um, with those products, I'm trying to create the best product I can. Best is subjective, of course. Um, Try to implement certain details that I think are nice or good to have in a pair of jeans, and then I talk about like stuff that usually do not really make the jeans better in terms of, oh, the you will able to wear it longer or something like that, but more like having these historical references, things like hidden rivets, having a manual attached waistband where you have like the chain stitch going from end till end, and then
Yep.
you can do the top stitch with ending in the V, something like those kind of details. Um, Putting in those main Japan stuff, and at the at the same time, and that's also something that I mentioned before, is that the reason why I launched the European made line is that there are so many guys, they don't care. They really, really don't care, and that's fine. I mean, uh, so what I did with the European made line is that I stripped down basically the Japanese product with all the details that I thought were not really necessary for to still have a good pair of jeans. So you have leftover fit, a good fit, because I already developed most of the fits. Fabrics are sourced from Kanyani, which is an excellent denim mill. And then you have clean constructions, which you can perfectly do in Portugal. Certain things are definitely different when you approach production in Portugal versus Japan, but that's has more to do with basically a mentality and way of producing in terms of quantities, for example. So if you want to produce a lot of pieces, you want to avoid certain ways of making of garment construction. And also uh, when you when I'm just lost now. What was I trying to say? Help me there, David.
Yeah, well, maybe one thing that stood out to me when you were speaking was like the fact that like certain details jump out at you as kind of like, ooh, these are the like the special embellishments I want to have in my
Yeah,
Japan line. So you
I
mentioned
know
like the
where I
single
was.
needle waistband. Like, what kind of stuff do you?
No, it's
What
the
are those things
philosophy.
you like?
It was the philosophy that I was wanted to mention, is that the approach of these factories, where um the best example that I had working with a Japanese factory versus a factory not from Japan, basically, is usually when you do it outside of Japan and you come up with certain ways of how you want to do something, they will ask, yeah, why do we need to do this? Because if we do it like this and this and this, it would be much easier and quicker. As no, I need to do it because of I want a historical reference. I want to do it because uh I like it the way it's been made. Yeah, it's more difficult, but that's how it makes a difference compared to other brands or other garments. In Japan, it's a lot of the people working in the factory, they have knowledge of these historical details. They know what they're doing. And I had the in when developing the first jeans, one of the sketches were missing the hidden rivets. So I got back the prototypes, and they included hidden rivets on all of them. And on one of them, they added like a little note, "Hey, you forgot hidden rivets in your sketch. here's the jeans with hidden rivets. I was like, ooh, that's the factory I want to work with. So
Cool.
it's a difference of mentality as well. But then we have we have the two different lines, and um, yeah, so it's something for everyone basically.
And you mentioned working a lot with the Japan Blue group. So like Collect, Japan Blue, Momotaro, etc. I know they're all kind of centered around Kojima. Um, is that kind of like what led you to be able to do your production there? Is like having those connections, or is it sort of independent of that, where it's like I found a mill I really like, I found a factory I really like, and it just kind of all happened to come together?
Well, I still work with them, and I don't need any other production source or any other suppliers. Well, we do work with some other fabric suppliers from Japan as well, but our main supplier from Japan is Collect, and the jeans that are from the Japanese made line are still made within the Japan Blue group. So there's not really a necessity to look elsewhere. And yeah, Kojima is a great place for that. So. It's all in under the same roof, basically.
And
Yeah.
also go back to the other question, like what was it like connecting with Samurai and doing a
Oh yeah.
collaboration with them?
That was a really fun experience, especially since I used to be I still am a denim head and a fan of most of those brands. So I ha- the, my f- I did have a pair of Samurai jeans which I bought in how long was that ago? I think 2007 or 8 in New York in I think it was blue and green.
Yep.
Where I bought it, it had
Mm.
like the a cut off red tab because they weren't allowed to sell them with the red tabs.
Yep.
And it was the 19 ounce with the silver Lurex selvage. Um, and So I had a very fond memory of breaking in that fabric, and then I was able to connect with those guys through. You have the trade show circuit where you meet a lot of people, and there I met a guy who was doing some sales for them in Europe, and through him I got introduced with Samurai, and I just brought up like the idea of maybe we can collab and we can do like this and this and this, and they thought, yeah, let's do it. We haven't done this before with another brand like this, so especially not with a European brand. So I was actually the one who was in charge with the design and development process in terms of how I wanted to have the garment look, and they basically took care of the production part. We selected the fabric, that specific fabric that I originally bought back in the US in 2008. So it's the same fabric. Um, and I had the So if you, some people might remember the design, but it had like a mix of both brands in detail. So
Hmm.
the left back pocket was like a samurai pocket, and the right back pocket was a Benzak pocket. So they were slightly no, not differently shaped, but they had like the samurai embroidery on the arcs on the back pocket. We had the Benzak embroidered bull on the other back pocket, and we also had like the red tab stitched on the inside, so it was like a
Awesome.
hidden reference to a red tab. Um, we made a, I think it was a combination of two of our fits at the time, that how we developed the pattern. I developed the pattern with a pattern maker in Amsterdam actually, and then I just sent it to them so they could use it. Uh, and then one of the great things that they did for us was create the artwork for the patch, because they have like a really great graphic team in-house, where we use the like we haven't used him in a long time. We used to work with like a mascot kind of guy who's sort of loosely based on how I look. Well, actually, he's based off a model that we used that was reference, like he was like the prettier, taller version of me, basically. That was the idea of this model. And then we and then we had this character made around that model, and we got him appear on the patch. And normally you have the two samurai, they're in battle, basically. So we replaced one of the samurais with the Benzak mascot. So that was a
Oh
really
yeah, I
cool
remember
thing.
that now.
They Yeah. So, but it was a really fun project. Was well received. Yeah, I can say I'm proud to have that added to the yeah, to the list of things that we've done in the past. We've done a couple of other
Yeah,
collaborations I'm proud of as well, of course. But yeah.
yeah, and maybe speaking a bit to the kind of the mascot and the idea that you mentioned earlier of like having a really consistent closet. Like, what stuff do you like to wear day to day?
Uh, uh, Preferably, I wear the same stuff every day. I think I've been wearing this sweater for like 7 of the 5 days of the week, past week, just because it was there, in on my chair in my bathroom. I'm currently competing. Well, it's not really competing, but I've joined
Mm.
the Indigo Invitational
Hmm.
for the first time. We've been a sponsor of the Invitational for many years already, and this time I thought, well, why not just join? I mean, the last time I actually did a contest myself was way back when there was no social media, when we only had the forums. So it was a very
Mhm.
long time ago. So I'm now wearing the same pair of jeans almost every day. Uh, Mix it up with a sweater or a shirt. I'm a very basic guy in that way. I wear a lot of my own stuff, obviously, but I do like to mix it up sometimes, with other clothing. But it's yeah, I sometimes I get complaints, from my wife, like, "Are you wearing the same stuff again?" Like, it's yeah, sorry. I just like that, and it's there.
I think
How do
that's
you
like the
guys
ethos
approach
of
that?
guys, right?
Yeah, yeah, but isn't it the same for you guys, or do you try to dress up completely different every day?
Nah,
I try to dress slightly different, but that's normally a different coloured plaid shirt each day, basically, or in summer a
Yes.
different Hawaiian shirt. But otherwise, it's pretty much the same, so I don't have to think about it.
Yeah. We shouldn't be ashamed of that, I think. If you want to wear the same thing
no.
every day, then it doesn't matter, right? We can still be into clothing and wear the same stuff. I mean, look at the best designers. They only wear like a black t-shirt and black pants usually, right?
Mm.
Cole Lagerfeld, for example,
Yeah, well, that's a bit
every day in a black
extremist, but
Yeah.
same every
but
day
yeah,
though.
yeah, 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 that's true. That's true. Can't argue with that. No, but it's I
Yeah, it's
mean,
funny.
yeah, sorry, David.
Oh yeah, so I've got like my closet organizer. I've got like my black shirt section and my indigo shirt section, and I always put whatever shirt I wore most recently on the leftmost side. So as the shirts move down, I always know the shirt that's on the right is the shirt I've worn least frequently. So when I get up each day, it's like, am I wearing a blue shirt today or a black shirt today? And like, which ones have I not worn for a while? Pick that, and then pick the jeans that will work well with it. So I'm a bit
That's a
kind of like
very
a
smart system. Yeah, very, very smart system. I should implement that. I can get some more variety then in my daily wardrobe and still not having to think too much about it. Because that's I think that's usually the biggest struggle, that you have to really think about what to wear. But then again, if
Mm.
you try to have like pieces of clothing that are kind of automatically work well with each other, you can't pick wrong. I have that
yeah.
with my socks and my underwear. I only have one type of underwear, so I just have a big pile, and just when the stuff is washed, the wash stuff goes on the bottom, and it's similar as your rotation with your shirts. And I only have the same pair of black socks that I buy at the Uniqlo, I have like 30 pairs or something, and they're just in one big box, and it doesn't matter which one I grab because they always match. It's easy.
The thing I like most about this system is if something sits at the front for a long time and I'm not taking it, it means it's time to sell it. So it's like if there's a shirt that's like always ready to go and
Mm.
I skip it, I'm like, not that one, not that one. If that happens for like a couple months, I'm like, okay, I obviously don't love that shirt anymore. Time to sell it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Smart.
Um, maybe talking a little bit about the Netherlands. I know there's a lot of things happening there around denim. So you've got like Kingpin's, trade show. You've got Denim Days, where kind of like enthusiasts get together and sort of the denim university. Do you find that culture and scene influences your brand at all, or are you kind of doing your own thing and separate from that?
So, I think what I do is I'm very doing my own thing in terms of when you look at the influence of the denim industry in Amsterdam, it's more focused on like the bigger commercial brands. So you have like head offices from G-Star, Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, Pepe Jeans, Denham, like they're all here. But that's a different market. Nah, it has overlap obviously, but it's a different approach. Kingpins, for example, is more catering to also the larger production. So a lot of factories that are showing their like a lot of mills and factories from India, Bangladesh, China, some
Mm.
from Taiwan recently, I guess. There's a lot of from Turkey. So there's not many Italians or Japanese showing at Kingpins. It used to be a little bit different, but it's moving mo more towards that. So I go there
Mm.
obviously because it's basically around the corner, and it would be stupid not to go. But it's more for like to see people, to talk with people rather than doing my
Yeah.
sourcing. Um, However, of course, we have the Denim City in the Holland, which is Denim City is like the sort of a hub where you have the denim school, so the jean school. It has a store.
Mm.
There's a couple of showrooms. So there's a lot of things revolving around like the denim industry that's going on over there. So we usually have like interns from jean school. So that's obviously very beneficial for us. And the I was when I was in college, we're studying in Amsterdam. Um, a lot of these things were starting to arise. Like companies were coming to Amsterdam because of the environment for businesses to be there. It's a good environment for them to, I think, tax wise. Um, and I was I I would say I was there um the right time, the right place. Um
Mm.
because it was the time where there's a thing called luxury denim was starting, and one of the brands that was really tapping into that was a brand called Blue Blood. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
Yeah.
It's
It's a
Yep.
German brand,
so
right?
no, it's a Dutch brand. It's
Oh,
a
it's Dutch.
Dutch
Okay.
brand.
Okay.
Yeah, and one of the co-founders was Jason Denham. So that was
Then
basically
yeah.
his brand before he launched his own brand. Um, they were also the other guy behind it was also the distributor of Evisu. So I got like sucked into that scene basically. I got exposed to a lot of that denim, which definitely shaped my way of looking to denim, of the Japanese denim, um trying to how to approach denim design. There was another brand that I wouldn't say it really influenced me in a way of how I design my own stuff, but it still got me into denim. That was Atelier La Durance, which is,
Mm.
Oh yeah.
despite its name, French name, also a Dutch brand. And that was from a guy from my hometown of The Hague. And I actually used to work in one of his stores. So one of his stores was called Mot d'Emploi, also a French name. But yeah, that was one of the better denim stores. And yeah, so I kind of grew up within that environment of a new sort of wave of denim design, and there was nudie jeans that was coming up in the early zeros, where I think at one point, even though it's a Swedish brand, Nudie had like most retailers in the Netherlands, because there were a couple of
Mm.
Dutch retailers and a distributor. They were heavily involved, really pushing the brand. Um, and so I was got exposed to that as well. And Nudie Jeans, for example, is still one of my all-time favorite brands when in terms of how simple their collection actually is, and how they
Yeah.
approach design is the jeans at least is very similar in terms of fit build up and different fabrics and styling. The styling is different, but the styling is always the same, and that type of consistency I've always really appreciated with nudie jeans. And they were also one of the ambassadors of do not wash your jeans, wear them 6 months before
Yeah.
washing, that
Hmm.
whole type of philosophy. They were the ones who really putting that in our young brains to to do. And even though yeah, at some point I still think, yeah, try to avoid washing, but you know the way we think about that has changed a little bit over time. But it- yeah, I think those elements, so it's not only Amsterdam but also how denim in the Netherlands in general was shaping throughout the early zeros, has really helped me learn and create my own philosophy and vision on raw denim, and which eventually led, of course, into to creating my own brand.
Yeah, it's interesting. It kind of takes me back in time. So I remember I was living in San Francisco previously from like 2005 to 10. And I think Self Edge maybe opened like 2008, 2009. And around that time, I was like discovering APC as kind of my intro to raw denim. And my first few pairs were APCs. And Super Future was like the place to go and discover all this stuff before Self Edge opened here. So it kind of took me back in time hearing your stories of like when you're starting the brand and being on Super Future and yeah, discovering all this stuff. So it's really cool to kind of remember all of that.
Fun thing. If you search, I think the forum still exists, right? Haven't looked at it in
Mhm.
ages, but the Super Denim forum, there's like the official Avizu thread, which is,
Mm.
I think, is called Avizu is still liked or something like that. I started that,
All
but it
right.
was it was started
Awesome.
with the question, is Avizu still liked? Question mark. And then
Yeah.
when the mods saw that it was just becoming the official if issue how you say that, thread, or
Yeah.
like we call in
Yeah.
Reddit you would call it a
Hmm.
subreddit, but um they changed the name to if issue still likes exclamation mark. So it was kind of, I think if you go to there you will see it, and then my I think my username was already Benzak, so it will stand it can stand out like that. Yeah.
Yeah, also like a bit of like our kind of podcast and sort of community history. So Kevin and I both were living in London around 2013. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
would
because
say
I had moved
so.
from Paris to London, and like I didn't know any denim heads when I was in Paris. So when I got to London, I was like, God, there's got to be some denim heads here. I think Kevin, you had kind of come across a similar scenario
Ex-
moving from the
exactly.
Netherlands to
Yeah.
London, and we met and became friends because we both had like different meetups where we're trying to like get denim heads together in London, and we're like, oh, let's like do this together as mates, and so like we started organizing our meetups, and we met a whole bunch of the guys on the podcast, Ilya, Lex, Andy, Tom, Ricky, everybody, and like ever since then, there's like this group in London that like all gets together and hangs out. Obviously, I'm not local anymore, and Kevin's not local, but yeah, it all kind of stemmed from this community of like us being forum dudes and like not knowing other denim heads.
Mm.
It's funny then the first time when you meet was a bit awkward, right? I remember that
It
meeting
was
guys that
awkward.
only knew from the forums, and yeah.
One of the first meets we had in London was the first time I met David was at the Black Horse Lane factory, and the second time was a pub in East London, and there was 6 of us there, all head to toe in like double denim, and this old bloke walked into the pub who just was wearing a pair of jeans and a denim jacket, and David was like, "I wonder if he's for our group," and just went up to him. It's like, "Hey, you here for denim meet?" And it's like, "What? Who are you?"
Yeah, it's funny too because when me and Kevin first kind of like were like, hey, we should probably like organize this meetup together. I think we would organize on like meetup.com hangouts and like would each have like one person show up or something, and we're like, maybe this is easier if we just kind of like join forces and try and
Yeah.
collaborate on this. So
And we
You
used
guys, you
we
guys
used
have done
events
that
in
quite a lot,
stores.
right?
Yeah.
You used events in
Sorry.
stores to organize the meetups, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
we
just because
we
in
used
London there was like, go ahead, Kevin, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, so because there's so many stores there, and these stores would have events on as well. So we would sort of like organize around those events, or even together with the store, like saying, "Hey, we got a bunch of people that want to hang out, and do you want to open your store for that?" Um, which I think still happens at Black Horse Lane, for example, because we have a few people in the group who work there as well, which make it a little bit easier. But so that ethos has stayed in the group, I think.
That's really
Yeah,
great.
definitely. It
Yeah.
feels like there's like always some kind of denim event in London, which is cool because like in LA, I didn't see that when I visit that much. San Francisco, it's not that way. I feel like London's got something special around kind of like all these brands and doing like store events. Seems quite special.
Yeah, we don't have it that much, I think, right now in the Netherlands. Used to be a little bit more. Um, but you see that I think the trend is getting back up again, but it's been a bit down in the last couple of years, I guess. I mean, we're still here all, but in general. You see that you see that on the activity on Instagram, for example, where there used to be a lot of guys actively posting like almost daily, and that's changed a little bit. I mean, it's also, it's live probably as well. Um, but it's good to hear that you, at least in London, there's still this is still being organized from time to time. If I'm there, I will try
Yeah,
to tag along.
yeah.
You
Like
should.
give us a shout if you're in town because whenever someone comes through, like Ilya, Lex, Andy, some of the guys who are local will try and sort of like organize a hangout while that person's in town. Like I know Kevin, you were visiting recently from Denmark, and everyone kind of got together to see you. And I was there recently to visit, and so there's definitely like a hey, someone's in town, let's all get together kind of a vibe, which is really cool. Um, and yeah, I know Amsterdam Denim Days always felt like it was kind of a big reason to get together. I don't know if I think that's maybe still going, but I remember there's a moment where it seemed like that was like a really big deal for a while.
Yeah, I think it was right before COVID when it was like peak. Uh, then
Mm.
COVID hit and so many things changed, obviously. But that Denim Days didn't really recover from that. I mean, it's still there. You still have the denim market and there's still workshops.
Hmm.
Um, but I can remember like before there were like there were really really big events, like a lot of people, and yeah, well, that's maybe it will get back again. But right now it's a bit different, unfortunately. Yeah.
Maybe related to that, what are you looking forward to, like in the near term for Benzak? Like either as a brand, as an industry, like individual seasons. Like what do you kind of what's kind of like your what are you hoping for in the next couple of years? You know.
Oh, what I'm hoping for. Um, well, I always think that you can hope for things, but if you just work for it, you can make it happen. One of those things is I really, really want to open an official Benzak store, so like a brick and mortar
Cool.
store.
Nice.
Um, the goal would be to launch that in 2026. But right now, I've no idea if that's possible because I'm just looking for a location, and can be anything. So it I have a couple of different ideas. It could be like a super small store somewhere in an A location where you will have a big chance of getting a lot of walk-ins, also from people who don't know the brand yet, because still a lot of people have no clue about us. Could also be like a bigger store somewhere outside of the city where I could maybe relocate my office because my office is now still uh, basically in the center of Amsterdam. Great place. I don't want to leave there, but it's uh, yeah. If it could be that I will find like a really nice spot where I can have like an office and maybe even uh, create a warehouse because we do the warehousing. It's
Mm,
it's outsourced to another company who's doing that. So it can be anything. So I first want to find like a place that is affordable enough, as let's say, and then try to build like a concept around that spot. And I'm just looking now for a spot, and uh, not much is available at the moment. We're looking around the Amsterdam area, but that's mainly because we have a lot of international customers. So we do like this we do like private shopping in our studio, and there's a lot of people who are
mm,
like passing by, coming they're in Amsterdam for a couple of days and then like book a slot and they come shopping. Um, so for those people, it would be much better if they're just a store where you can walk in any time of the day without an appointment. So Amsterdam would be my preferred location to open the first Benzok store. Um, but also with location, I'm with in terms of city, I'm open for different things. Really depends on what's there, what's available there. So that's something I'm really
mm,
hoping I can achieve in
mhm,
2026. But if not, I mean, it's we can also carry it over to 2027 because I've always done things, you know, in a natural kind of way, in a more slower way. You can that has been the approach of everything that I've done for the past 12 years already. I mean, you can grow a brand, try to grow a
mm,
brand super quick, like when you go up like a very steep slope up, but if something goes bad, you go back down in the same pace.
mm,
While if you do it slowly, you build up slowly, you usually have a lot more time to adapt and to change and uh, uh, improve things that you need to improve to maintain your momentum and keep the brand relevant and alive. And it's also we're still a small team. I'm not sure if you guys know, but it's actually just me and my brother who run the brand. Um, so I'm full time. My brother is works 3 times a week. He is our content creator, so he's a professional a filmmaker and photographer. That's great to have one of those in house. So everything that you will see in terms of the imagery and film clips and everything is done by him. Um, and then we have like a lot of stuff like outsource freelancers for certain things, like the warehousing is outsourced. But we're still a very, very, very small brand, completely independent. We don't have any investors. It's 100% self-financed. So it's a very, very healthy position to be in, which allows, on the one hand, it allows a lot of freedom because I basically can do whatever I want, but it can't go like as fast as sometimes I want because you need capital sometimes to move fast, and we don't have that. But that's also not necessary all the time because um, we like I explained before, it's really like it's slow fashion. We don't try to change the collection every season. It's when I develop something new, it's it's not that it's something completely new. It's always based off something that we've done in the past. Maybe I can, if you guys interested in it, how my like development and design process goes in a nutshell. Is it something
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
go
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
it.
interesting
For
to you
sure.
guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so what I've explained that we have like around 60% of the collection is core collection. So basically what I do every season is I just put everything on the floor in my studio to have like a visual idea of what we have. That's score and also seasonal styles. Because a lot of the seasonal styles that we do are still relevant to carry over to the next season. So we still keep them in the collection. One of the things that's really, really important for me when I design and develop something new, that it should be relevant for at least 3 seasons. So that means that if I introduce something new for this winter, it should still be relevant the summer after and the winter after. And also then after that season, that's the first moment I'm allowing it to go on sale as well. So if there's still some stock, um, we're not allowing sale for our own web shop, but also for other retailers. And if they don't always listen to that, but we try to keep that aligned through everyone. Is to stick to stick that to stick to that rule basically. So I put everything on the floor. I have a look at what do we have. And that's basically my starting point. What we have is the collection. Then what are we missing from there? So I look at in terms of, okay, how many shirts do we have? How many overshirts? How many jackets? How is the fit build up now? Do we need more loose fits or do we need more slim fits? So nowadays it's more like relaxed straights or loose fits that we're doing to add to the collection. And then the next step will be the fabric sourcing. So I make when I've made like an overview of okay, I need two new shirts. We need a new denim fabric, and we're gonna do it in this and this fit. So basically, I make a sort of a line plan of options I fill in. There's my grid again. So I've like I always make these grids. Try to approach collection making very mathematically. And then I do fabric sourcing. And that's just it really depends on the season. That really depends on what also a lot of gut feeling, what we need. I have a big archive of fabrics already in my office from my main suppliers, Collect and Candiani. We also work with some other Japanese and Italian mills from time to time, but it's mainly those two that we do the sourcing from. Um, and then it's when that's done, when I have an idea of what type of garments we're doing, what type of fabrics we're using, I will look at, okay, which shirt exactly am I going to do? Are we gonna do the worker shirt? Are we gonna do the serviceman shirt? Are we gonna do like I'm gonna think about that, and then or do we need something new? Could be an idea I already thought of months ago. I write these things down, like, oh, that's a good idea, maybe for the future, write it down. That's maybe my sort of mood board. The only way I look at things like in terms of other design and ideas, I write them down. But I don't create a story. I don't create like a whole collection based off a color or something like that, or a feeling or a word or something like that. It's really, really product focused. What do we have? What are we missing? Okay, we're gonna look for the fabrics, and then we're gonna think of what kind of shirts or jackets or jeans we're gonna do with it with that. It's I'm not sure if it's very different from other brands because within our market. I have no clue because I haven't worked for them. I do know that I've worked for other brands who do it completely different. But for me, yeah, this is the way how it really works for me. And what what I also wanted to emphasize on, because we're such a small company, I have to do a lot of other things as well. I mean, if we need to if we need to do the groceries for lunch, yeah, I also have to do it, or my brother, or my intern. But we do everything together. So I have limited time. So by creating a collection that is very consistent and doesn't change that much, I'm able to manage all this basically. And we're not gonna have like 50 different styles every season. No, it's gonna be like 15, 20 different styles every season, and they're not even different styles. They're usually existing styles in new fabrics. But that's
Yeah.
enough. But then we're going back to the wardrobe of the average guy. He doesn't need 20 different shirt designs. He just wants to have a few of them. Like you told me, Lex, you're wearing the different shirt every day, but it's basically the same shirt in a different color, right? So that's how I approach our collection as well. And that's in a nutshell the way how a Benzak collection is designed and developed. Yeah.
It sounds a bit like, when you go to a restaurant and the menu is just pages and pages and pages and pages of stuff and you can never pick. And then you go to another restaurant and it'll just have 5 items on. You're like, well, let's have that one then. And is it kind of almost that philosophy, but with clothing? Keep it simple.
Yeah, it's very
It also
similar.
feels like it makes it nice for the consumer because they know it's like it's approachable, right? It's not like, oh my gosh, like everything's changing for this brand. I now need to think about whether stuff I have from them before is no longer relevant. Do I need to go buy a bunch of different stuff? Everything's changing, like I can't keep up. But if it's like kind of consistent and approachable, it makes it easier for someone to get involved. And I also think too, like a lot of folks don't realize that brands such as yourself and similar brands in our scene, they are usually just like a couple people. They're small teams trying to do a lot, and you can only do so much with a small team and still deliver a good product. So I think it makes a lot of sense.
And it's the consistency I talked in the beginning. One of the first ideas that I had is I want to have consistency in the brand, and this way I can bring that consistency. I don't have to change it, but I also don't want to change every season because it's really really not necessary to do that. It's just making things difficult for yourself by doing that. And it's also very, like you say, it's very approachable for the consumer because they know what to expect, but also they know if they like a fit, they can just buy that same fit next season in that different fabric, and they can
Yeah.
just stick to the same that they already know that they like, and they can almost buy it like blind. But there's a lot of other brands in our community that are approaching it in a very similar way, I would say.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because I found that at points in time, I like to go more in the direction of like flash or embellishments, kind of more fancy stuff. It's like, ooh, this is a neat color or this is a neat pattern. Like camouflage is this weird thing. Where I love the idea of camouflage garments, like blue camouflage, whatever. And I buy them and I don't wear them because they're not simple enough. And I end up selling them. So like the stuff that stayed in my wardrobe are the things that are just indigo or just black, and things that are like crazy colors or crazy patterns. I'll wear them for a short time, then realize I'm not wearing it that much, and it ends up getting sold on.
Yeah, but if it's a crazy design, which can be really fun for a couple of times, but you don't want to be that guy with that yellow shirt or something, that's
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, oh, that's that guy with that very specific crazy pattern. Yeah, now we know it now. Like it's so that's also, if you have something in a more uniform color or something more simple, you can wear it almost every day and people won't even notice that you're wearing the same stuff. And or the same, you can still have like you can have like five different Benzak shirts that are the same design, but they all have a different color, different fabric. So there's a five. There are five different shirts, but they fit the same to that person. So you can feel comfortable in it. Still looks different every day, without having to worry about going like too crazy or to stand out in a negative way, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes it a lot easier to kind of to shop, to wear stuff, and to like get your money's worth out of your garments. Makes it, I'm guessing customers appreciate that kind of, it's making everyone's life a bit easier.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess Lex, Kevin, did you guys have any specific questions you want to add, or Leonard, anything specifically you wanted to talk to? I know we're getting close to the hour and a half mark.
Um, no, I think, it's one thing. We talked a little bit, of course, before we started this the recording. And one of the things you also wanted to ask was the you're because you're a Texan, right?
Originally, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, about our Longhorn. You had a
Yeah,
question
actually,
about that.
that is one of the things that drew my attention to your brand was
Yeah.
I'd seen like a cool. It's probably like maybe that like CPO overshirt and like a herringbone twill or something that maybe first drew my attention to your brand, or it was that industrial blue selvage jacket. But then I spotted the Longhorn. I was like, oh man, this is awesome! Like, my university, University of Texas, the Longhorn is our logo. So I was like, this feels like a really cool kind of reference back to my home. And I like the fact that it was almost always tonal. So that way it just kind of blend into the garment unless you're looking for it. Um, Maybe tell us a bit more about how you arrived at that logo.
We actually, there was a point where we wanted to do the logo in like two or three colors. The horse logo from Ralph Lauren. You have it on the shirts. It has like multiple
Mm,
colors.
Mm.
That version of
yeah.
it, but we tried that and was horrible. It looks nothing like the funny thing is keeping it like uniform in one color was more clearly like the Longhorn hat than it was with multiple colors. Now how we got there was I have a very very large Longhorn skull hanging in the studio. I've had that for I think more than 15 years. And um, I got it just because I really liked it as a piece, and I think I bought it from a guy who was doing like was selling this stuff somewhere in the north of the Netherlands, and he had a couple of those, and he drove to Amsterdam because I wanted to buy one, and I think he had three of them, and I picked the one I liked best, and I had a very, very small studio back then, which I shared with someone else, and I first got put it there, and I always brought it with me, and it's now has a prominent spot on the wall in the current studio in Amsterdam. Um, And I'm not sure what drew my attention to the skull. I really liked it, but in a way it kind of made sense because um it the Longhorn Bull has a strong connection with cowboys.
Hmm.
Um which is obviously originally one of the wearers from for jeans. So you had the mine
Mm,
workers first, but then like cowboys were um guys who really shaped like denim culture in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, I would say.
Yep.
Um, and I've always thought of our clothing, even though we come from a heritage point of view, I don't see Benzak as a heritage brand. Uh, we draw inspiration from elements from the past, but we're not a brand who is like doing replicas or the way how we do our photography, the way how we do our even the design of the website. Like we try to do it very modern. I'm
Yeah.
um I'm very into, for example, into modern art as well. So I like geometric shapes and things like that. So you will probably see that a little bit in the designs of the fonts and
mm,
things that we do. Um, but the even though we are not a heritage kind of brand, I felt some kind of connection with it, and then I thought, well, aren't we the modern day cowboy? Like
Mm.
the guy who lives in the city, who rides his bike to his work, we are basically the modern day cowboy. So I thought it should be somehow it should be implemented in the brand. And it was actually already with the introduction of the main Japan line in 2013, where I drew a version of the Longhorn as a part of a logo on the pocket flasher, like the carton that you put in the back pocket. Um, and then after 2 seasons, I asked like a friend who is a graphic designer to uh, basically redraw that. And what we just did was we took a picture of that skull that I had hanging in the office, and he vectorized it and turned that into a logo that we put on the new pocket flasher. So if you go to the website and you check out one of the main Japan jeans in the flasher, you see like a skull on there, and that's this exact same skull that we have hanging in the office. And then for the
That's cool.
European made line, yeah, and then for the European made line, it was, I think, in 2018, I think we had the first Japanese fabric that we used for the European made line. So still made in Portugal, but we imported fabric from Japan, and we still have like we almost all the tops are now Japanese fabrics, but made in Europe, so it's European made. Um, and on that first pair, I included the little embroidery that you will now find on almost every
mm,
garment. It was initially introduced to differentiate the Japanese fabrics from the European ones. I thought, oh, it's a cool idea. If we have a Japanese fabric, we include the bull. And then we had that, and I thought, well, why don't I just put it on all the jeans and then on all the
Yeah.
shirts as a tonal?
yeah.
And that's how this whole, yeah, the little embroidery like came to existence. So it started with the actual skull that we still have, and now it's evolved into I would say a very recognizable little piece of branding that we have. It's one of the few pieces of branding that we have on the outside of our garments. Obviously, we have quite some branding still on the inside, but that's just for yourself. That's not for other people to see. Um, yeah, because that's a whole different story. I mean, the inside should look just as nice as the outside with garments, we think, but that's something different. That's not about about the school.
Yeah, I like it because as the garment patinas and evolves, the logo can become slightly more noticeable, but because it's tonal and because it's small, it's still always subtle.
On
It's like
the
a
uh, on the
black.
jeans, on the jeans
Yeah,
is
yeah.
actually an indigo dyed thread, so it
Oh,
will
it is indigo.
fade with
That's
the
cool.
yeah.
That's cool. That's a
For
nice touch.
example, on your jacket, I think it could be like a really a tonal color, but
Yeah.
on the jeans, it's indigo dyed. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's cool. I like the subtle touches. Like I remember when I had some of your like fatigue shorts. I don't have them anymore because my waist got a little bit bigger, but they had like a real small black leather Benzak patch. It was like hidden under
Mm-hmm.
the belt loop completely. So when you're wearing your belt, it's as if it's invisible. But when you're holding your garment, then you see it there. Or like, I think you had like the size information was like hidden within the fly, so you'd only see it when you unzip your
Yeah.
own trousers, but no one else would see it.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's the
Some cool
same
details.
with the hidden pocket. So we have that's one of our signature details in the jeans. It's called the hidden six pocket. So actually we don't do five pockets, we do six pockets. It's my little invention basically. No, it's an extra piece of fabric that we put on the opposite side of the coin pocket. So you have the coin pocket usually on the right hand side of the at the front pocket, and then you have on the other side we have the hidden six pocket, but it's made with just a single layer of fabric with the selvage on top, and because the waistband is always thicker compared to the pocket facing underneath, um this extra piece of fabric it creates like a perfectly flat surface, so it's very hidden that way. And then when you wear a belt, belts are usually most belts that we wear are um around between 4 and 5 centimeters in width, which will automatically cover that pocket entrance. So that when you wear a belt, it will become a hidden
Mm.
pocket. So it
That's
will have
cool.
the appearance of yeah.
I think when you get your retail store figured out, I think that will be really nice because some of these details, like you almost like need to see them in person, or you need to see the garment in hand. Like, I mean, obviously you have very good photography on your website. Like your product photography is really nice, but it feels like a lot of these little things you almost want to like see it in person to see some of these nice little design details, and also like the clean finishing on the inside. Like working at Black Horse Lane, it was really similar. Where Han, the founder, was like, I really want my garments to be just as nice inside out as they are right side out, and so I think
Yeah,
that
they
that
do a
that, that
really great job. They do a
Mm.
really great job in terms of finishing, I would say. It's one of the best in terms of a commercial product still. I mean, you of course you have guys who do like have their own workshop and do these jeans where they make everything themselves.
yeah.
Um, but the way how they do it, I would say one of the best in terms of inside finishing for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd almost go
Mm.
as far as to say there's like a short list of brands that I think do this like clean aesthetic in terms of their makesmanship. Like I would say Benzak is definitely one of those. Black Horse Lane's one of those, and also Rogue Territory. I think Carl,
Mm,
his stuff really clean inside as well. And it feels
yeah.
like these are all brands that are taking a modern approach to denim, whereas a lot of the heritage brands who
Mm.
want to stick to the heritage production, you see the overlock stitching, you see a lot of the kind of like old school production that doesn't necessarily look clean on the inside. So it's almost like two different kind of philosophies of like modern and clean versus heritage and authentic, but not necessarily as clean of a makemanship.
Yeah. And we should just make more content about it then also. If you I mean I think there's still a lot there's so much more to tell than we can put in this podcast about our products, and it's also not
Mm.
the place for it because you really
Yeah.
want to show the garment. Um but I'll take that as a note. We're gonna make more content about the details, explaining everything that we do, and um yeah, because I sometimes also just forget about it because it's such a like a daily thing that we do, and forget about to keep talking about it and keep explaining to people how we approach things. And maybe it's the 100th time I say I repeat the same story, but that's just part of the process as well. And for me, it's I have the brand for over 12 years now, but I'm still learning every day. I'm still,
Mhm.
adapting and learning, and trying to understand the changing markets, trying to understand how people think, what people want, what I want to do. Things like what we've talked about before. It's like introducing certain washes now, maybe in the future, trying to open a retail store. Those are like new thoughts that I really didn't think about like 2 years ago of doing. And I, I probably said at one point that I would never open a store because it was too much of a hassle or something like that. But things change and you adapt, and
Yeah.
yeah. So now it's 12 years, and let's see how we'll look in another 12 years. I will still be here probably. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
my
that's a good
goal.
testament,
That's
right? Like,
that's what I hope. You asked me what I hope. That's what I hope. I will make it to another 12 years.
awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's a good testament to your brand, right? To be around for this long of a time and still be growing, still be evolving, and still doing something you like. That's super cool. And so, yeah, I definitely think that's worth celebrating, and hope you have continued success with Benzak and that it keeps growing.
Thank you very much.
Cool. Well, awesome, Leonard. Great to have you on the podcast. Maybe this is a good place to kind of wrap things up. So, huge thank you. I'm glad we got to connect and get you on the show. Thank you, Lex and Kevin, for jumping on to help field the interview. And yeah, I'll as always, maybe Leonard, quickly plug your Instagram and your brand's website for folks who maybe haven't visited before to know where to go.
Yeah, it's very simple. So the full name is Benzak Denim Developers, and that's the Instagram handle as well. So at Benzak Denim Developers, and the website is also benzakdenimdevelopers.com. If you want to have an easier website URL, you can also go to benzak.nl.com. Is unfortunately claimed already, but if you go to benzak.nl, you'll also be there. Um, yeah, and you can also follow us on YouTube, by the way. So we have a growing YouTube account where we try to publish more of these videos, especially those videos I just mentioned a couple of minutes ago.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, just have a look over there. Uh, yeah, I think that's it where you can find us.
Awesome. Yeah, I look forward to those product deep dive videos. I think those will be super cool.
Yeah,
And yeah, everyone, thanks again for joining in our 47th episode of the Sons of Selvedge Podcast. Obviously, like and subscribe wherever you see our content, and also wherever you see Benzak's as well. Support both of our efforts. And at that note, I'll say thank you and wrap up the recording.